Thank you so much, Zoe, for the kind introduction. And I'm really happy to be here today and tell you more about the ANIMA community and also the Bpi Friends EuroQuity. So my name is Anta Diallo. I'm in charge of the African projects at Bpi Friends EuroQuity. And as I said, today the idea is really to kind of like dive into the community to actually show you a little bit more on how you could use it and leverage it for your own needs. So just to give you a little bit of, I would say, context and information about the platform. So the EuroQuity is actually a service that's been launched in 2008 by Bpi Friends and in partnership with, I would say, major partners in institution like KfW in Germany. And since then, we have been operated the services with, I would say, other partners both in Africa and in Europe, like Attijari Wafa Bank in Morocco, So Welfam in Belgium, the European Commission, and so on. And I would say our mission is really to connect African and European ecosystem, and that's why we really think that the ANIMA community really fit into this framework. Our goal is really to help companies connect with investors and partners internationally. Now to give you some figures about the platform. So we have more than 15,000 companies on the platform. So most of them startups, but also a lot of SMEs. We have more than 2,000 investors. So a lot of CVCs, VCs, private equity funds, banks, network of business angel, and so on. We have also a little bit more than 1,500 what we call business support structures. So it means basically incubators, accelerators, and some consulting firms also. And what I would say in terms of presence of our users, we have 70% of our users that are coming from Europe. I would say 20% from Africa and 10% from the Middle East and also North America. So now I will actually share my screen so you guys can actually know what I'm talking about. Okay, so let me see. So do you guys see my screen here?
Yes, we do.
Okay, perfect. So here we are, so on, I would say, the first page of EuroQuity. So you can see actually that on the first page that, companies that they're looking for investors, some companies that are also looking for partners. So as I mentioned before, it's really a missions here. And here you can also see community news. So actually, what is the community? I would say the platform is really structured by community. What is a community? It's really a space where I would say different type of actors gathered to interact, to connect with each other, but also that they share actually the same goals and the same, I would say, they share common services. So I wanted to show you an example of a community. So we have, for instance, the Invest Horizon community. So it's a community that has been actually kicked off by the European Commission. And it's a community that gathered all the deep tech startups that are raising in Series A. So you can see actually here that's more than 1,700 members. And if you go, for instance, so here's I would say the discussion page where you have a lot of information on the community and information that I would say that is structured by channel. So here's the global, all the information that you can have on the community, for instance. If you go to the channel here, because they offer webinars and events, and that's also how actually you guys can structure your community. You have all the news related to webinars, all the news related here to the events. So if I check, for instance, here, that's the overview. So you have basically, I would say, a presentation of what this community is about, the goal and objective, where it's located, how to apply to the programs, and the animators, the support services, as we saw, I would say earlier, the event course and webinars, and also the animators. And now if we actually click on the members, we see that there's a different, I would say, different typology of members. So you have companies, investors, business support. So if I click to companies, I will see basically all the deep tech, the European deep tech startups raising in Series A. And then if you go down, I would say you'll see there's different companies from Spain, Italy, Portugal, France, for instance, Hungary. And if you see, I don't know if you've noticed, there's like several, I would say, certifications here for some of the companies. And actually a certification, it's what we call a label. It qualifies the company. So it gives it gives a sign of the quality of the companies. And to give you an example of a certification, I want to give you the example of the Solar Impulse, certification or label. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the foundation, but it's a very famous foundation that kind of focus on, I would say, energy efficiency. And they decided to launch a label on EuroQuity to basically select 1,000 company solutions and companies that actually both fits, I would say, environmental criteria, but also profitability criteria. So if you go down here, you see, the small description of the community. There's of the label, sorry, the communities it is attached to, so the Investor Horizon community that we saw earlier. And here you see the different members, so you see, all the solutions that basically receive this label. So companies from Canada, Spain, United States, India, and so on. Now I would say if we dive really into, I would say, the ANIMA community. So if we see the community just right here, so I understand some of you already part of the community and some of you might not. So if we check here, so we see that, there's a short description of what the community is about. We see here that you guys, there's 18 members so far. And we have here the wall. So basically, we see here Zoe. She published a first post to welcome you guys here. And this wall is really an opportunity for you to, I would say, first of all, as Zoe said, she will post and they will post all the news related to, the event that they organized, that ANIMA will organize, the program that you guys can be part of, and so on. So it's really great that, to have, I would say, a first channel information on there. But you are also able, as a member of the community, to post something related to your news or opportunities that you would like to connect with some specific members of the community or others. And so that's really a space for you guys to interact. I'm going to put a small like, for instance. And so here's also the overview, but I will not, I would say, get back to that, because Zoe kind of actually, explained a little bit more what the community was about and how what it could provide to you. And I will get back to that, I would say, actually on a second, just after. So here, if I check out the members, so there's, as we saw for the previous community, actually, it's like you have companies, investors, business supports. And so, we see here some of the company, and some of you guys are actually might actually participate in this webinar. So that's great. And here yes, so I think that's it. I mean, that's what I wanted to show you on the community. And now I actually want to go to, I would say, what added value can the ANIMA community brings you. So first of all, really, I would say the part that we saw before, keep being updated on the news related to ANIMA, and also be able to post news on your side on the community. But also, I would say to gain visibility towards, I would say, investors and partners. And so I would actually show you how, showing you basically an example of a startup that is called Avid. So basically Avid. So if you are on the community, basically, first of all, and I think that's really important to say, is that you will be, as being member, of ANIMA, you will be able to activate your fundraising. The activation of your fundraising actually is possible through this tab that I will show you later on. But this is exactly, it works exactly like here. You can actually see, how much the company is raising, and if you go here on the fundraising tab, you have basically the ability to. I'm not signed in. You have the ability to precise, I would say, your fundraising. So if you're raising in Series A or B and so on. I'm sorry, it takes a little bit of time. Let me try to refresh the page and see. But basically, yeah, it will give you the possibility, I would say, to give more detail on your fundraising in order for investors to connect with you then when they're looking for deal flow on the platform. So yeah, so on the fundraising tab, you'll be able to precise basically, what ticket you're looking for, the minimum investment, the objective. You have the progress status also. That's very important to kind of mention, if you manage to secure some fund or not. So Avibin has not, but if you have, it's kind of a plus. It kind of lure, I would say, and attract investors. Here you have the description. So, kind of like explain what are the market needs and what is your response to the market needs, the business model that you propose, the target markets, the competitors, and so on. You also have the possibility to add, the previous roundtables. So if you managed to raise fund before. And here you have actually this button here. So the fundraising here is already activated. But you have to launch your fundraising, you need to click on a button that it say basically activate your fundraising to make it visible to the investors. You can also add your deck so it can be visible to investors. So we have 3 levels of, I would say, possibility to, accessibility on your documents. So the public files, it means that everybody is able to see the file. The investor files, it means that only the investors on the platform are able to see your pitch. And just know that we really do a due diligence on all the investors on the platform. So, they already, I would say, famous investors, so we already know the investors, or we do a due diligence and exchange with them in order to make sure that, they're serious investors. And then you have also the private file where actually you share a file with a specific person. So that's, I think, a first way to be visible to the investors in order for them, when they actually go on the platform to look for deal flow, to check out your company more specifically. But I think it's also a way for you to be more visible also, because so here you have the possibility, to describe what your company is doing. Here's also a shorter description of your companies, that it's actually really important to add this on, because I'll show you when you do the search later on. This is I would say, the first content that is being visible to the people that actually look for you. So it's really great to have. Here's the EQ score. It's kind of a SEO, I would say, indicator that depending on how much like you have, how much follow you have, how many labels you have also, and how many communities your guys are part of, that will be higher. And you'll see on the search that I'll show you later on, the higher your OQ score, the better, I would say, the higher you are on the list.
What is the maximum EQ score? How much is it?
I think it's 100, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So that's the goal.
Okay, we still have room to go.
Indeed. And so here, you have the possibility to clearly express your need also if you're looking for investors, partners, or others. There's also the possibility for you to stay where you are located. You can also put the tags. I think the tags are very important because it also, will have an impact on the search later on, because I'll show you, but basically you can put certain criteria, and depending on the criteria that you guys put on the tags, your company is going to be, being put, I would say, forward. And here is also, the follow or the like. And if you check out here, so that's the newsfeed part, and that we see also appear on the first part. And so, it's what I said basically earlier, but you have the ability to publish article news about your companies. If anything great happened, I think it's great, kind of give traction to your company. So for instance, Avidbean, they published a news item on the fact that they deployed the first phase deployment with Coca-Cola. They completed the first phase deployment with Coca-Cola. And then also you have the possibility to add your team members. I think that's very important if you have, your team here, because I would say the more contact you have on the platform, the better, in the sense that it gives credibility to your profile, and it also enables you to give specific contact to, I would say, particularly to a particular need. For instance, like, so the fundraising that I'd show you earlier, you have the ability here to actually put a specific contact. So here there's only Annie because it's the CEO, but if you have, for instance, a person that is in charge of the fundraising, that would be great to put the person here. So whenever we see your profile, we know that this is the person that we can contact. Same actually for the partners. You also have the possibility to actually put a specific contact for the partners here. And also, of course, I would say, to express your request for partners. So it can be technological, industrial, commercial. So here for Avidbeam, it's technological. And you see, it kind of Avidbeam kind of describe more in detail what they were looking for. They're looking for system integrators and solution providers here, and so on. And if I get back actually on the about, just to finish, I would say on this page, you also have the ability here to add on your network. I think it's really important because it also gives, credibility to your profile. So, if you had, for instance, previous investors, if you have any accelerators or incubators that are supporting you, if you have any advisors, customer partners, and so on. And you also have the ability to put a little bit more about your history. So like, to give, I would say, again, more content to the companies that would be interesting in your company. Regarding, I would say, I would also wanted to give you, I would say, I think it's really, so if I'm getting back to, the fact that being part of ANIMA will, I would say, first of all, help you activate your fundraising. And also, I think it's really important because knowing that, just so you know, there's 72% of you have 72% more chances of being part of a community, of raising fund on a platform if you are part of a community. So I think that's give you, you know, more power and credibility here again, and visibility also to be part of this community. And just to give you also a little bit more, I would say more figures on the fundraising, you have more than, I think it's 515 million that has been raised so far on the platform. So most of the startups that a lot of startups that are actually on the platform manage to raise fund, I think, in less than 3 years. So the more, I would say, information you fill in and on your profile, and the more visible you're getting towards the investors, but also potential partners. Now you have also another way to actively look for partners and for investors. So I'm going to show you how. So if here you have, you know, the what we call the burger menu. So basically you have here all the companies that are on the platform, all the investors, all the business supports. And here you have more specifically the startups that have activated their fundraising. So they're actively looking for investors and they precise their needs, like Avidbeam. You also have, you know, the company that are actually actually the investors that are actively looking for some startups, and so that they precise their needs about investing. And you also have the part like Avidbeam also of the companies that are actively looking for business partners. So, for instance, if I don't know, if I go to, so you have the possibility rather, or you can, because sometimes investors don't actively activate, I would say, the fundraising. So to kind of like have a larger pool, you can also go to investors just right here. And I would say if you're looking for investors for your fundraising, for instance, depending, you have the ability to filter, you know, the categories depending on what you're looking for. So if you're, for instance, I don't know, like an IT company, you're going to put investors that are looking for in IT companies. You have also, you know, possibility to look for investors that are operating in certain countries. So I don't know, we can put Morocco. I remember some of you guys were from Algeria, right? Okay, we can start by that, but there's several countries where we can put depending on the countries, for instance. I think there is a Lebanon also. There you go. So for instance, I would say let's try with that. And then you can put, depending on what you want, you know, investors that are part of certain communities. So you'll see there's several communities here. I'll show you later more later, I would say, or labels. And if I say, for instance, apply the filters. So here I would say there's like 45 results, and I would say all those results, or you know, it's also depending on the AQ score and so on. And you have the ability here to filter by the most active, the most recent, but also by the AQ score. And what you can do is actually create an alert so that I would say that's an example. And if I put submit here and I manage my alerts here, so those are all the ones that I need to delete. But for instance, the ANIMA fundraising here, I have the ability to have a mail alert and to configure it so I can receive the mail alert daily, weekly, or monthly. And I can also see it, of course. So I would say that's a great I would say, opportunity to, whenever there's an alert, and whenever there's I would say, investor that is on the platform and that fit my criteria, that I receive this alert by email. And maybe after that, once, for instance, you identified a potential investor for you, you have the ability to contact the investor here, or you can also, click on the profile, and then I would say, have a little bit more information on them. So what they're doing and so on. And here you can either contact directly, so you can see, you can contact directly, I would say, the company, so the investors, or you can choose also to contact the team members. And what's great is that you can actually see here the language that they're talking. So if, for instance, you're speaking in French, it's a way of, I would say, personalizing your message and speaking then in French. And if I, for instance, click on Khaled, for instance. So here, I mean, Khaled doesn't have much information on his profile, but sometimes you have people putting some info on profile, and that's also another way, I would say, to use this information to personalize your message. You have, so I show you the example for, I would say, look for an investors, but you can also do that for the business partners. So you can go for, they're looking for the business partners, but you can also go to the different companies, all the companies that you have on the platform. And here again, you can, depending on what type of partner you're looking for, select the sector, the country, or the community. There's also an interesting way that you can I would say, that you can use to track the potential companies or investors that are interested by your companies. It's, if you go here, so that's my dashboard. So once you have your profile, you have a dashboard. So that's I would say, the space where I actually see the different activities on the communities and on the communities that you're part of. So here's like, those are all the communities that I'm part of, for instance. So that's also a quick way, I would say, to check out your community, and just click here if you want to see the news of the community. And here I see all the posts that have been published on those communities. But I also have this tab that is really interesting, is you have all the last visits. So it's like all the people that basically visited your company profile. And that's great, and the recent light also, and followers. So if ever, I don't know, there's an investors that is actually looking for your company, that's actually checking out your profile, you have the ability to contact him, saying, hello, I see that you visited my profile. I'd be happy to exchange with you, and so on. So you see here, you have a little bit more information about the person. So it's, as I was saying before, another way to connect, I would say. And I would say also being part of ANIMA, you also have, I would say, there's also potential synergies with other communities on the platform, and that you could potentially join also. I heard that some of you guys were actually Tunisian. So we have, for instance, a Tunisian community that is called Investi. And it's basically, I would say, it's the tech ecosystem in Tunisia. And the community was just only started, I think, in November, and they already have 100 members. The community is basically helping, I would say, the Tunisian startups to connect with international investors, and raise funds, I would say, with international investors. So here you have, a lot of news actually of, on the communities also. And you have, I would say, the different members. So that could be, potentially interested for you if I check out, so I would say the investors here. You know, you have AfriqueInvest, that is Spartive, EuroQuity, and so on, Carthage Business Angel. So you have the ability to connect with them. Yeah, and I guess that's it for me on my side. I don't know if you guys have any questions.
You have a first one in the chat that you partly answered about the
Okay.
total invested amount, and do you have also some figures about the numbers of companies that were that found an investment through the platform, and an average amount?
Okay, let me, because I don't see you guys, so I'm gonna just like disconnect so I can actually see the question. Okay, perfect. Yes, so about the amount, I would say since 2008, I know that more than 500 million euros have been raised on the platform. We have, I think, 72%, as I was saying before, you know, you have 72% more chances, I would say, to raise fund if you are part of a community. And I think most of the companies manage to raise fund in less than 3 years on the platform.
Okay. Do you have any other questions? I don't know if your primary focus is to get news from the opportunities displayed by ANIMA and all its partners. Do you want to look for investors or other business partners, and also maybe startups operating in the same field? Do you have specific question on, you know, I don't know, tips to get in touch? We already heard Anta about it. Maybe also about your profile, how to make it more attractive. So the floor is yours. We're supposed to close the meeting in 5 minutes, but if there are questions, we can extend for some minutes. Yeah. I see a new question. So you can raise your hand, you can speak, or you can write in the chat, and you can do it in French as well if you want.
I can see a question on the, okay. Are investors interested in the Algerian startups since there is no exit strategy yet for foreign investors? We actually have been, we had actually some Algerian startups. I'm not saying there's like a lot of Algerian startups, so there's some Algerian startups, and a lot of them, I think, are actually gaining, I would say, gaining opportunities and also the ability to connect with investors through communities again. And there's, for instance, the Atija Ruafa Bank community that I was telling you about, because it's a community where you have, you know, like all the customers from the bank. I mean, a lot of them are SMEs, but they also have some startups, I know. And they are actually, they've been benefiting with the webinars actually that the bank was organizing, and also the connection with, I would say, with other investors that they were linked to. So I would say it's when we have startups, and we particularly, I would say, help them raise fund, is when we have curated events that I think that we'll be able to do also with ANIMA. So we have EP session where we select, you know, a specific number of investors, and investors that we know would be interested in you guys and in, for instance, Algerian startups. And then we organize the session, and we I would say, encourage and foster the introductions if the investors are particularly interested. Okay, I'm just going to get another question on the, I let you maybe guys answer on the emerging valley emails. I'll
yes,
answer.
we'll do that at the end. So first, let's focus on EuroQuity platform.
Okay. So are investors and partners are responsive, or company wait for weeks before getting replies or response? Okay, so regarding this question, we are actually, no, they're usually responsive, but I would say there's also other way, as I said, to sometimes they are in the platform, sometimes they're not. We have some investors that are really active, some that are not. So I think there's just the possibility to contact them if they're not answering on the platform. There's possibility to contact them, on LinkedIn or by email, I think. And as I said, I think the best way to really get in touch with them also is during the EP session, when we really mobilize them and we really kind of curate, I would say, the introduction to specific investors. So can we get in touch with banks in Europe on the platforms such as Bpi Friends and other? Yes, you can. And we actually have a lot of banks on the platform, a lot of banks from Europe and also Bpi Friends. We have, you'll see when you explore the platform, but we'll have all the different departments from Bpi Friends. So, the regional department, the innovation department, the export credit department. So this is also another way, I would say, to get in touch with Bpi Friends and other banks. Thanks for answering. Okay, but we are more interested in smart money for equity. Appreciate your help. So what do you exactly mean when you say smart money for equity? I don't know, Abdella, maybe if you want to speak up.
Yeah, sure. You can write in the discussion, but you can also speak.
So engage
yeah, I'm sorry. Hi.
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 I'm sorry, just 5 a.m. in the US right now, so I'm attending this
Oh,
session from
sorry.
there. It's okay. So I kind of have like a deep voice. Anyways, basically, was asking we're looking basically for like engaged investors. We're not looking for money like banks will just give you money and you can do whatever you want with it, but we look like for investors who are going to help us in our growth strategy with their network, with their you know what I mean. So basically, it's quite difficult to be by yourself and trying to struggle, but we're looking like for smart money for people to help you in your in your work. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I think most of the investors or are actually on the platform or more about, I think, smart money because, and we see it, I think it's a big trend, it's a way for investors to kind of differentiate themselves that it's not enough today actually to just provide the money. And we are actually, we launching a Bpi France actually Averroes community. That is because we have as Bpi Friends a fund of funds. So we basically invest in the best fund in Africa. And there's this community where it's kind of we wanted to build, I would say, a service for their funds. So this community is for the funds that we invested in and their portfolio companies. And the idea is to help their portfolio companies connect with French companies, but also European companies. And so that's really something where we see that, a lot of the investors, and including those investors in these communities, are really trying to help their company growth and, kind of support them through their search to find potential partners in Europe and abroad.
Thank you so much for your answer.
Yamina, you raised your hand. Did you want to add a question or comment?
Yeah, I have a little question. Thank you, Zoe. Thank you, Anta, for the presentation. I have just a little question related to the fulfilling of the profile. Is the EQ score related to the fulfilling? I mean, the more we fulfill the profile, the more we get the score. Is it? Is it the idea?
Yes, you absolutely right. So the more you fill out your profile, the better your EQ score will be. But there's also, other criteria, I would say, like depending on how much like you have. So basically how much traction your profile generates on the platform. So it's how many likes you have, how many also followers you have, how many label you have, because the more label you have, the more I would say the quality of your company have been vetted, by partners, but also, the more community also you're part of. So it's a mix of different criteria, but for sure, the criteria about the more you fill out your profile is one of them.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Do we have any other questions? If not, maybe I will leave Anta because her time is precious. She told me a few days ago, okay, we're doing this webinar together, and then you will be able to replicate it for the next times, and it will be difficult, Anta, because your presentation was so clear and relevant. So thank you very much. Maybe we have another a last comment. Is this that question, it's on the top of the pyramid, I know. So first we have an issue which is called COVID-19. So our borders are closed, and I think Algeria's. Oh no, sorry, Fatima, you're from Morocco. I think they cut the airlines 2 days ago. Yes, but so is there any link with the French tech visa? I don't think so. But you can contact us definitively, Fatima, because we'll try to do everything we can to activate our contact database. We have people working in prefecture and at the French Tech and everywhere, but it's not easy. We do everything we can to support you. We can send you support letters and introduce you to people, but it's not unfortunately, and we really regret it, it's not a guarantee that it's going to work. But yes, definitively get in touch with us on this too.
And maybe if I may add, I would add something. I would say also, while there's COVID-19 and it's very difficult, for those program to be implemented, you can still, on the platform, you really have the ability to connect with, potential partners in France. And I think that would be a first step, I would say, to digitally collect with them and try to also have a better understanding, I would say, of the ecosystem and your potential partners. So I would say that's a first step to do so.
Oh yes, and I see Raphael was able to join the webinar. Thank you for the words and for the invitation for Fatima.
I maybe had a last message, I would say, before wrapping up on my side. I just wanted to say, so first of all, I'm really, really happy to have you guys and to have this community, ANIMA. So if you don't have a profile, I believe Zoe sent you a link that you can click on and create your profile and directly join the community. Feel free also to invite your colleague because the more involved they are and with their specific areas, the better they will be able to connect with the relevant actors. And also for those who who already have their profile on EuroQuity, feel free to fill it out and also invite your colleague. Let me know. I think let Zoe and Loria know, if you guys have any question, and I'm also here if there's more technical questions also. But yeah, we're here for that.